I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it in back bay. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Buku signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things, don't even have a deal, yeah, I battle through these.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy J. Ludis, and guys, we have a powerful special guest for you today. Someone that I look up to. I've seen his YouTube videos, and I cannot wait for you to check them out after this one, after you get to know him. Guys, he is a spiritual warrior in my book. He's got knowledge, wisdom, and such a background that I couldn't wait to get him on the show so you can get to learn about him and learn from him more so than that, because he brings so much to the table. Guys, he was born in Haiti. He came here at 15. And that just starts the story. But we're going to dive into it today and help you learn something just a little bit more, whether it's spiritual or whether it's something you can just take one step after the other. But guys, I give you Obed Guerrier. Obed, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. No, seriously. But give us some of your background right now. I mentioned you're born in Haiti, but what was that like?
Man, I feel very blessed to be in the United States, because growing up in Haiti, it wasn't a funny thing at all, because, you know, and growing up in a third world country, it's like there's so much things that, you know, you have your parents, they want to do so much, but there's not much they can do. You know what I mean? So and I thank God for bringing me into the United States to be able to, you know, to follow my dreams. You know, I'm grateful.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So you came here at 15, and then, like I mentioned,
yes,
with just your background that I know of, you're a spiritual warrior. You know, you have a heart for God, and, you know, some people that might be new, some people they might not be open to that for all I know yet. But what really sparked you to grow in your spirit, to grow with God, to grow with Jesus, but more importantly, I don't want to say more importantly, but just on top of that, to grow and reach out a hand to others, with that being the foundation?
Of course, this is so wonderful. So guys, I remember growing up in church. It wasn't an easy thing, because, you know, my father was a pastor. You know, I brought up in a Christian home, but at the same time, it's like my lifestyle wasn't pleasing to God until I have to have my personal encounter with Christ, and that's when I began to know that it's not about the appearance of the way we look in the outside, but it's the inside. It's you knowing Christ personally. That's all that matters. And I began to grow spiritually, and I began to not only on what I'm experiencing, I'm willing to reach out my hand to others that able to have the same relationship with Christ. And that's ever since then, I'm like, you know what, I just want more of God. I just want more. And I begin to study the Bible, you know, to pray, to seek God like never before.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you find that when because you speak at your church just as much?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
So do you find when you're speaking to people, whether it's at the church or whether it's elsewhere, and you're reaching out a hand to them, are they receptive to what you bring to the table?
Some of them do sometimes, you know, because a lot of people, like, whenever time they're going through some stuff, they kind of feel like, you know, if you are pointed the right direction, not to them, sometimes they'll feel offended. Sometimes people will feel like, you know what, who are you to judge?
Yeah.
Or who are you? But, you know, it's all about the love of Christ. You know what I mean? So we need to really show the love, just like I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. But at the same time, we need to expend the same love that Christ has expended.
So I like that. I like that. And that kind of brings us to the topic I kind of wanted to lay for this video. With all the knowledge that you bring in your background, you kind of just mentioned it right there. You just try and point them in a direction.
That's right.
Right? You point them in a direction, which is God, which is Christ for that matter. And as much as that's a direction, it's also a role model.
Yes, sir.
Right? And just in your background that you just kind of went over us, you made him your role model, which is the goal.
Of course.
A lot of people today have other role models, of course, which is not a bad thing whatsoever. But I think we can kind of dive into that and kind of show them the direction they're already on, which is great, of course, right? So what's your idea on the ultimate role model?
So let me just kind of compare it
Yeah,
to
of course.
the natural
Yeah.
aspect of that first. I remember growing up, I loved to play basketball. You know, my role model was Kobe Bryant.
Nice.
I always wanted to be like them, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So even my hairstyle, my haircut.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So until like, you know, I started playing ball, but I'm like, I could not get any better.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I believe that we all have our role models. You know, you could be like a movie character.
Yep.
You could be anybody.
Right.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, we know that, you know, the ultimate role model is Christ Jesus, because he's the one that loves us. He died for us. You know, we have to look up to him, because not only he loves us, he did not just speak about the love that he has, but he demonstrated the love. He came to die for us, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
A leader, a role model is like someone that's willing to, you know what I mean, to die for us. That's a good thing. You know?
I like that. And that kind of, in my eyes, just kind of made the connection, which I think is going to connect to the audience even more so right now and help them see what they're already looking for.
Yes, sir.
So with Christ being the ultimate role model, with God being the ultimate role model right there, we can you looked up to Kobe. Phenomenal.
Yes,
you know, I've
yes.
looked up, like I played basketball just as much. And as you said, could only get as good as I could get, you know, but, you know, I'm looking up to these people just as much. You know, Vince Carter was my guy. KG was my guy. Posted a video about KG a couple weeks back. And, you know, I've been really diving into KG's book as a way for me to kind of a relaxation read, just to learn.
Yes.
And it's so cool to read a book about your role model, but it's so cool to see what your role model looked up to just as much.
That's good.
So with KG, he mentions his story of, you know, his mom was a Jehovah's Witness, and he, quote unquote, was forced to go when he was a kid, which a lot of people can probably connect to when they're little. And now that he's older, he's searching for God in new ways.
Yes.
He's trying to learn on his own. So if you think about this, pick any role model that you have, whoever it was, whether you're a kid watching this, whether you're an adult, whether you're an elderly person for that matter, pick a role model that you've had throughout your life. First off, I want you to try and figure out what is it about that person that you wanted to be like.
That's right.
And then, just like with KG with me, I think it's so cool that my role model looked up to the ultimate role model that Obed just mentioned. So it's like KG, in a way, as much as I looked up to him, that was leading me on the path to the ultimate one. So look at your role models and think, what is it about them that you like? And as Obed started this conversation with, Christ did it all. You know, yes, he died for us, but there's so much more before he died that he did, right? So if we're looking up to these role models, are we looking up to their characteristics that we like the most, that motivates us, that inspires us? And at the end of the day, if you actually dive into the Bible, if you actually dive into who God is, all those characteristics we look up in today's role models is exactly who he was in biblical times. So are we looking up to our role models, or are we looking up to something higher than our role models? Because we want to be better than our role models. Like if you're trying to just be someone, you can't be yourself. You got to be better than that person to be the best version of you. It's huge. But coming back to the ultimate role model, we're inspired by these people because they have characteristics that he inspired us with.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Of course. So yes, definitely. Because of like you were saying, so we need to keep our eyes on the ultimate role model, which is Christ Jesus.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Phenomenal. No, I love that. And as we said, there's different levels to it.
Yes.
You know, someone could be watching this right now and you might not be spiritual. You might know about it, but you're not at the level where you can dive into it or take that step. And that is completely okay right there.
That's right.
All we want to do is spark something with it.
Of course.
And that could be something you touch on 10 years after this video.
That's right.
But to plant the seed and watch it grow in its time.
That's right.
But like we said, there's different levels to this. You could look up to someone, that you could look up to one of your friends. But ask yourself, what is it the characteristics about them that you're inspired by, and who else has those characteristics? Is it God? Is it someone else that you can look up to inspire you more so? But at the end of the day, it all points in one direction, and that's straight up. I think that's huge because we're all trying to grow and get up to somewhere in life to a different level. It's incredible. Right? And so there's another kind of topic I want to bring up to you, Obed, and it kind of goes on that with these role models we have. Yeah. But it's mentioned so much with a faith perspective, with a trusting perspective,
Of course.
and it's probably one of the toughest things for so many people to do, and that's waiting.
Yes.
Right? So, like, as much, I want to transition to that topic. So we have the role models. Our role models have to wait to become role models.
That's right.
With waiting in general, how can we help people with the power of waiting?
Wow. So this is a phenomenal question, and I want you guys to really pay attention, because a lot of times, like, you know, we look up to our role models, we want to be where they're at, but we are afraid of one thing, which is the process. We have to go to the process of waiting, in order for us to make it to the place that we're supposed to be. So now, and before Kobe Bryant became that legend, he has to wait for his time. Before, just like Bill is saying, just like before KG was KG before KG became that person, he has to wait and he has to go through the process. This is the problem we're facing on time, where we don't want to wait. Waiting, the power of waiting is the most effective tool that we need, because if you don't want to wait, you're gonna mess it up. Because if you don't wait for the promise, you cannot get. If you don't go to the process, you can go to the promise. So you know what I mean. So it's very important for us to really understand that we have to wait. The power of waiting. That's the number one key that we need.
Exactly. I feel waiting is tough for people, and it's probably tough for us at times too.
Yes, of course.
You know, we can have a right mindset, but it's still tough where you want it now.
Of course.
And I like what you said, where you can want it so badly now, but you lose it if you got it now.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
I've been in those moments where, I prayed about things and I get the answer to my prayer.
Yes.
And I have to learn the lesson that, yes, I was given it, but I wasn't ready to handle it, and I lose it. And I can be so upset at the fact that I lost it, but at the same time, if you look at the lesson in it, you realize you have to grow and be ready for it, and you don't choose when you're ready, and that's a huge thing with waiting, right?
Yes.
That's why I love how you continued with the basketball example with Kobe and KG. And, like I said, I'm reading KG's book and everything, and you're learning about every aspect of his life. You're learning about things he went through as a kid, things he went through as a teenager that brought him to the NBA to be an incredible star, but you're learning what he went through as much as he wanted it so badly when he was younger. So when we're waiting for something, we can't just do nothing. Waiting isn't just us sitting in this chair waiting. Waiting is actually working in the process to get to what you want.
Exactly.
Right? Build on that for a little bit.
Of course. So I'm going to bring it to the biblical aspect. So now, if you're familiar with that scripture where God has given the people of Israel the promised land. And now God told them that I have given you this promised land, but now you have to go possess it. So they weren't, just like Bill was saying, they were not just seated at one place waiting for the promised land, but they have to go step by step, day by day, to possess the land that God has given them. So in order for us to be where we at, where God has called us, we need to go to the process, because without the promise, you cannot go. Without the process, you cannot go to the promise once again. You cannot ever get to the promise if you're not willing to go to the process. Yeah. The process is not easy sometimes. It's not easy.
True.
You know what I mean?
Very true. Yeah, exactly.
It's not easy.
I like that. You can't get to the promise without the process. Yeah. Whatever your promised land is, take that. You can look at it from the biblical perspective. God promised them the promised land, right? And so what is your promised land that you're trying to get to? Is that a new job? Is that a family? Is that a relationship? Is that your dream finally being achieved? Is that you making the basketball team at school? Like, what is the promised land for you that you need to set as your goal and then start walking the process out to get to?
That's right.
That's huge.
That's good.
I like that.
That's good.
Yeah. And, in the process, I like how, we'll stick with the biblical examples. I always, when it comes to waiting, I always have one image in my head. And it's, when God tells, like you said, leading them to the promised land, they have to wait 40 years.
Yes.
Right? They're walking around the wilderness for 40 years. And you'll be able to build on that more so than I can. But he tells them to wait. And it comes back to it. They're in the process. I believe it's T.D. Jakes that said it, and he goes, a lot of people look at that as like they're waiting for 4 years. No, they're not sitting in the wilderness waiting. They're actively trying to do things. They're walking it out. They're building their families. They're living their lives. They're helping the entire community they're in grow, and then they get out of it.
That's right.
So they're not doing nothing in the waiting process.
You have to do something.
Yes.
That's the thing. While you're waiting, you must be active. You must beginning to position yourself to begin to have a different attitude, different mentality on how you're going to enjoy the promise, because the process, that's what's going to make you. And a lot of times people does not want to go to the process.
Yeah,
that's what's going to make you. While you're waiting, don't just sit down. Don't just be like, you know what, it is what it is. You have to really have a heart that is after the promise, but you are willing to go to the process.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
exactly.
Does that make sense? Just like you in the Bible, like even the disciple, they have to wait.
Yep.
Because they wanted to be used.
Yeah.
They wanted to go and do ministry, but they have to wait for the promise, which is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
You understand?
I get that. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's funny, even to bring it back to more like our life examples. Like if you're watching this YouTube channel, you've probably seen other videos. If this is the first one, you've got a lot of videos you can click on. But before we put the camera on, Obed and I, we were going over both of our YouTube channels and when we started them and how they've come about. And, I've been doing once a week for like 4.5 years at this point. I haven't missed a Sunday. And people get like, oh my goodness, that's incredible. It's like, it is, but I knew when I started this 4 years ago in the woods on like a 7-degree day in the winter, just trying to start something that I want my life to move toward. It has and everyone at the start of that, if you watch that video, probably not going to put it at the end of this one because I'm yelling. I don't have the speaking ability down. I'm just trying to practice. And everyone's sitting there and they ask me every single week, like, wow, you're getting better. You're getting better. Like that means the world to me. I could only get better if I looked at these videos as practice for when I'm on stage.
That's why.
I want to speak into people's lives. I want to speak into people's hearts, their minds, their souls for that matter, and truly help them. The process was every single Sunday consistently waking up and finding a message or creating a message or finding an incredible special guest to create something for it, because it's building the foundation and it's in the process of waiting that you can grow your skills and your strengths to be able to do it. Now I can step in front of the camera and just, all right, let's go. But when I started, it wasn't there. It's just like we bring back to an athlete. Like you pick up basketball for the very first time, probably not going to get drafted by the NBA.
Not at all.
Not at all. You got to work your way to that level.
Of course,
right?
Of course. You have to go. You have to get into practicing. You have to go through the process. That's what it is. Life. That's the way life is.
Yeah.
So you want something. You want to become a doctor. What do? You go to the process.
Right.
You want to be a nurse. What do? You go to the process. A lot of schooling, a lot of studying. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you will make it.
Yep.
Don't give up. Don't stop. Don't you ever stop.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. To put a period on it, Eric Thomas is a great motivational speaker that I love. He helped me kind of learn just learning from him and his books and his messages is what helped me create once a week. And he has, I believe it's him, he has a message that he always tells it in his messages. I bring it to my life coaching clients now. And if I got a 26-year-old client, I always and they're like struggling with something and they can't learn. So I was like, hey, it took you 26 years to become 26 years old.
Wow.
And that's a statement, but if you think about that, no matter how old you are watching this video, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, it took you 50 years old to get to 50 years old.
Wow.
Meaning you had to go through the process to get there, no matter where you are in life.
That's so good.
Every single day is a part of your process, and you have the choice to how you will use that day. If you want to spend it in bed, by all means, enjoy your rest and relaxation. Or you can spend it, get up, and make yourself better. And try to. I'm not going to say make yourself better. Try. Actively pursue the process to be better in whatever that means for you. If that's something fun, learning how to cook, learning how to do something else, do it. Why not try to get better with the time that you're given here, right? But that's the process. That's the power of waiting.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Definitely. So that is so good, guys. So practice. That's the saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Perfect. Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. Yep, exactly.
It's the same thing. It's just like, you can compare it to a process.
Yeah.
You have to go to the process. Another way, practicing what you've been called to do, practicing what you desire to do. Mm-hmm. That's what is going to make you get to the to the place where you want to be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You gotta prepare yourself
Yes.
for what you're searching for, and the only way you can prepare yourself is to step into it.
Step into it.
Right?
Do
It's
the first step. That's right.
It's huge. That's awesome. You know, and like that's the power of this message right here. And to kind of as like a lasting question before we close this one out, you have so much spiritual knowledge, biblical knowledge, Christian knowledge.
Yes.
You've been in it for so long.
Yes.
I love the fact that you're able to take the examples in the Bible and explain them to people in, I don't want to call it a worldly way, but when we're all like, you know, people watching this like, oh, they may not be spiritual and everything, but they know Kobe, they know everything like that. The courses of our lives, they really do connect to what's put out in the Bible.
Of course.
So if someone's watching this and they're still kind of turned away from like, oh, I can't really sit down and read it, I can't really do that. How were you able to make that transition where it's like, okay, this guidebook, for that matter, for love, for God, for everything. That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. You know, how can someone kind of start taking steps to that where they come from like, all right, I know Kobe, I know these worldly examples, that works for me. How can I kind of take a step where it's like, all right, let me at least start to step into this perspective of God, of whatever it may be.
Of course. It's just like what we were saying, you gotta just one step at a time.
Yep.
You know, you might not get the full picture, but you just have to just draw closer to him, begin to want to know him.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, way before you get into a marriage with a woman or with a man, so you have to go on a date. You know, you have to like slowly kind of, you know, get to know the person. It's the same way with God. It's the same way, like, you know, all like Bill was saying, like, you know, there's like a natural aspect, but there's also a spiritual aspect. It is real. There's a natural aspect, there's a spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
So we're not just natural people. We are both natural and spiritual people.
Yeah.
That's just why I don't just ignore the spiritual part. We have to begin to want to know more. There's more into it. So and it takes one step at a time.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
One step at a time.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I always go off of the phrase of, truthfully, life is more spiritual than it is natural.
Yes.
You can see us right now. There's so much more going on. Like, you know, there's so much more going on. We can't see it. Some people have a gift of being able to see, which is incredible.
Yes.
But with where we are now, looking at this very moment, creating this content for you, who knows where this could take you? And that's spiritual.
Of course.
Who knows what sparked you with the message? Rewatch this message for that matter and see what can grow from that in here, in your heart, in your spirit for that matter. That's spiritual. There's so much more going on behind the scenes that we can't truly see, and it's so powerful. You know, life is more spiritual than it is natural.
Of course,
right?
Definitely.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yes.
But Obed, I thank you so much for being here. Is there any lasting? We went on so much. Is there any lasting message you want to leave them before we close it out?
Of course. So I will encourage you to go after your dream, no matter what it is. Like Bill was saying, you might not be a spiritual person. Just follow your dream, because you are the only one that can stop it from happening. But you are the only one that can make it happen. So just follow it. The process is not going to be easy, and continue to do it. And if you are willing to turn around in the spiritual aspect, begin to follow the dream that God has given you. So that's why I want to encourage you today.
Phenomenal. I love that. I can't say that any better. That's awesome. But I thank you for being here, Obed. You know,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Guys, check out his YouTube channel, all right? And I'll obviously, like I always do, I'll put his content at the end of this one in the credits so you can go find it exactly. But Obed Guerrier, just on YouTube, you can, you know, you might be able to copy and paste it. You'll see it in the description and just put it right into YouTube. You'll find all his videos. He's got a lot of incredible content out there. You can find him on Instagram and find again. But guys, this will not be the last time you'll see Obed on Once a Week, because these messages have so much power behind them, and I believe in them so much that you can take them and run with them. And that's what Once a Week wants to do. We want to help you get to where you want to get to. From point A to point B, we want to help you in the process as you wait to actively get there. Think on that.
That's good.
You know?
That's good.
But Obed, I think you're being here, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Guys, as always, like this message on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button below. If anyone popped in your head during this message, anyone at all, friend, family member, guy walking across the street for that matter, if that person came in your head, it's a clear-cut sign that you need to share this to them. They are in need of it just as much as you may be, or anyone may be for that matter. Please share it to them and let's spread it and help more people. And as always, please subscribe to Once a Week. That number goes up every single week, and I love it because if that number is going up, that means we're helping more people. That's the goal, as I just said. Let's help more people. Please subscribe. And if you or anyone you know is in need of a life coach or someone to guide you and help you through these experiences, through the waiting process for that matter, to actively continue to pursue your dream, please go to BillyGLifeCoaching.com. You can set up a free consultation with me, a free strategy session, and we'll start the process. We'll get you going. If you need even more to back that up, please, if you're interested in a free training to help you start the process, a 3-step process to help you get things moving on the roadmap to help you reach the goal, the success that you want, comment below, message me on social media, message me on Instagram, whatever it may be, text me if you got the number, and I will send that link right to you because I want to help you get there. Ask me if you want it, guys. It's right there. But again, Obed, I thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
No problem.
Have a good one, guys. For now.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is wearing